Hello, my name's Titiksava Karunika, and we're going to do a little series about how to understand different things from the Vedas, the Vedic version. So tonight we're going to be discussing karma. So karma is pretty well understood nowadays, at least on the surface. What goes around comes around, do unto others, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Okay, so that's the basic understanding, and that's very fine and good. But I want to explain karma in a little bit more detail. So if you do good things come back to you. And if you do bad things, then bad things come back to you. Now what's interesting is that these good and bad things, they take some time to actually fructify. So the example is given of one who plants a seed and then waters that seed, and then eventually the plant will grow, and after some time the plant will eventually bear fruit. It's not that as soon as you plant the seed you immediately get some fruit. So it goes through different stages. So it's the same thing with actions. If you do a pious activity, it's not that you do something good and then the next day somebody shows up at your door with a check for $100. It doesn't quite work like that. There's some time involved before the fruits of your labor actually manifest. And similarly with sinful activities or impious activities, the fruits also take some time to manifest. So that's how it works. Now, the other point is that this may not happen in this lifetime. You may do a lot of good things in this lifetime, and you may not see any tangible results. But in the next lifetime, the results come. So bear this in mind, that the results of our activities don't always happen in this lifetime. There is a continuing cycle which goes on, and we're going to discuss that in our next topic, reincarnation. But let us just stick with this karma idea here for the moment and try to understand how it works. If one does good things, you can get pious results. There's different types of opulences in this material world that are desirable, such as knowledge, strength, wisdom, renunciation, beauty, and fame. So these opulences come as a result of pious activities. And similarly, the converse is true. If one acts impiously, then you will be deprived of such opulences. In other words, you may be poor, you may be disfigured, you may be foolish, like this. So these are a result of, where we're born in this life is actually a result of our previous life's activities. So this is good karma and bad karma, and that's how it works. But now what I want to go into today is something called akarma. Now that means no karma. Means like lack of or no in Sanskrit. So no karma means you get no result, at least not on the material platform. So one who acts in a specific way, and we call this a transcendental action. This kind of activity is done specifically with the goal of pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? By definition, God means the Supreme Being, and therefore there can only be one God. Now, if you're worshiping the Supreme Being and I'm worshiping the Supreme Being, we're worshiping the same person. There's no two ways around that. It's just, that's just the fact. Now, if I'm worshiping somebody other than the Supreme Being, then there's room for argument. Now, who is the Supreme Being? That's God. We call him Krishna. You may call him Jehovah. Someone else may call him Allah. But the Supreme Being is the Supreme Being. So if one wants to please the Supreme Being, and he acts with that in mind and has no desire for anything for himself, there's no selfishness involved in his action, that is called transcendental activity. And similarly, it is called akarma. No karmic reaction, at least not materially, is going to come from that. Now, someone will say, well, if you're acting for the pleasure of God, don't you get good results materially? Well, actually, it comes automatically, but the point is that in your next lifetime, you won't have to come back in another material body. So if we act in a way that is pleasurable to God, then when we leave this body, the soul will actually go back to Krishna's planet, to God's planet, and we'll live eternally with Krishna in his planet. So I hope this has made karma, good activity, vikarma, bad activity, and akarma, which is transcendental activity, a little bit more understandable from the Vedic view. Thank you for listening. Hare Krishna.